Live. At least I am on Instagram. Am I live everywhere? Let's see. Hello, everybody. How are we feeling today? Let me pop up my banners. Are we feeling excellent? I'm hoping for excellent. But if we're not feeling excellent, oh boy, let me tell you, I understand. Does anyone else feel like Mercury's in retrograde even though it's not? Like, my goodness. Hey, Melissa. Hey, Savannah. How you doing? Melissa's dropping some cats in the chat. A loving feline dropsy. All right. I am reading to you today, and I'm going to be straight with you. I'm never straight. I'm bisexual. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm reading from the Wildwood Tarot, and I am doing so for selfish reasons, because when I feel like I really need to get my head together, get things understood a little bit, the Wildwood Tarot is where I turn. And it's funny because it's a tricky deck. It is the Wildwood Tarot, I would say, I don't want to call it like an advanced deck. I guess what I want to say about it is that it's weird. It's got its own weird energy. It's not quite a Rider-Waite-Smith vibe. It's not really a Thoth vibe. It's its own thing. And sometimes readings with this tarot deck bring up more questions than answers. And today I'm reading for you with it. Because it does, even that being the case, it tends to point me in the right direction. It tends to help me gain a better understanding. Often when I do a reading for myself, I write down my readings in like a tarot journal that I have. And often when I do a reading for myself with this deck, I like write things down, impressions that come to me. And I'm like, cool, I'm not really sure what to do with that. And then a month later, I'm like, yep. So it's that kind of deck. It's a little esoteric, I guess you might say. Anyway, how are we doing? I would like honest answers, please, not polite answers. How are we feeling this morning? What's going on for you? We just had a first quarter waxing moon. How are things feeling this moon cycle? Because I got to tell you, it's a weird one for me. I'm wondering if it's a weird one for other people too. Let me know. Let me know your thoughts, your feelings. I don't know what you're sipping on. I'm sipping on coffee. It's that kind of a day. Hello, Judith. You just got here. Which deck? I was just saying it's the Wildwood Tarot deck. It's kind of a cool, unusual tarot deck. It's got this really cool, nifty ancestor, non-binary, like, deer spirit here because it's kind of dressed female, but it's got antlers like a stag. I'm like super here for it. Anyway, like this kind of spirit of the woods energy, really interesting stuff. So that's what I am reading from today for y'all. Savannah says, not a weird moon, just the holidays, LOL. Yeah, holidays, big mood. Judith is sipping on last night's leftover lemonade. I love it. Good morning, Mary Jane. How are we feeling? All right. I always do share this broadcast in one or two spots because I notice that Facebook doesn't share it promptly and people often miss the beginning. In the meantime, let me shuffle a little bit for you. So, like I said, I feel weird as heck in the last few days. Like, I don't even know how to describe the energy of the last few days other than I feel like I'm having bad luck. And I'm not someone who ever says that. I guess because I don't often feel I have bad luck. I often feel like, oh, I wish that hadn't happened, but I can see things I can do to prevent it. And I just feel like I've been having a run of those things. And it's tiresome. And so I'm like trying to have a good attitude and asking myself how to have a good attitude and all of that, you know. And so I am turning to my old friend, the Wildwood Tarot. And I will be pulling a card for myself this morning. And I will probably be mystified by it. Let's see what these comments are saying. Hey, Brittany, how you doing? Good morning. Brittany's on coffee cup number 2. My cat is yelling at me. My cat has been also having a Let's say energetic morning. I think that's what I'll say. She's been having a number of adventures that are not fully approved by me and her cat dad. It's been an interesting ride. Let me pull a card for all of us for today to guide us for this week. We just had a first quarter moon. So that means it's a good time if you set a goal, or there's something you want to be bringing into your life this moon cycle. It's a good time to begin to take practical actions. The first week is a good time to, kind of make sure you know exactly what you want, spend some time thinking about that. And once we get that first quarter moon, it's like, yes, okay, it's time to make the donuts. It's time, it's time to take those actions that are actually going to help you move towards that goal. And if you don't know, just take the first step, right? Like, we don't have to know the whole path in order to take the first step. We can just move forward one little bit at a time. So let's see. Oh, wow. Judah says, listening to you on 2 devices because the airplanes overhead are screwing up the transmission. You see what I mean? It feels like it's Mercury retrograde, even though it's not Mercury retrograde. Is it just me? Maybe it's just me. I'm okay with that. It's okay if it's just me. I'll live. Here's our card for the week, everybody. Our card for the week is the 3 of Bows, and the keyword for this is fulfillment. This is about moving forward. And in particular, it's about moving forward with something that we are passionate about, something deeply held, something that is driving us. So ambitions, goals, things like that. It's about taking the plunge. It's about us saying, yes, here are all the resources I have. I also am a resource, right? And here we go. I'm going to take that first step. I'm going to move forward. It's a very nice card to have come up in conjunction with a first quarter moon. That's really interesting to me. So I'm going to ask you, my question for you this week is, what would fulfillment look to you right now? What is it that you have been trying to create in your life? And what would it look like to move through that portal? Because the 3 of Wands is a portal. You can see these 2 wands on either side of this person. Or 3 of Bows, I'm sorry. We use bows for wands in this tarot deck. You can see these are 2 wands though, on either side of this person, and they're holding a bow. And they're raising their hand as if in greeting, or perhaps like in a formal gesture, right? Like, hello, I am here. I am passing through. Like, I am allowing the universe to like fingerprint scan me. What is it? What portal would you like to be passing through right now? What feels like it's stopping you? And is there a way you can take a single step anyway? These are my questions for you. Hey, Ondine. Hey, Chaka. Thank you for tuning in. Good meowing. Happy Catter Day. Angie says, don't say retrograde. Oh no, it's not. Don't worry, it's not Mercury retrograde. I just feel like it is. My heart's in retrograde. Mary Jane says, loving this card right now. You and me both. Brittany says, things are rough this morning, but I am practicing self-care and canceled my big dinner tomorrow so I can focus on myself. That's beautiful. I'm so proud of you. That's like a wonderful thing to acknowledge. Like, you know what? Me taking care of myself needs to come first. Mary Jane says, I just wrapped my son's gifts for mailing, which is a little sad since he's not talking to me. I'm trying to keep the Christmas spirit. That's, it's really emotionally generous that you're still acting, as a loving family member and sending those gifts anyway. And, that's all you can do. That's all you can do is kind of show up on your end. And I hope that things get better between the 2 of you. All right, I got a couple cats. I love that card too, Savannah. A couple people are saying, loving this card. All right, I believe the first cat was Melissa Marie, so I will pull a card for you, Melissa, my dear. Here we go. The Green Woman. Like, let me talk about this with you. This is card number 3. The Green Woman, also known as the Empress, but I really like the context of the Green Woman in this deck. This is a card about fertility and flourishing, about creation, and about knowing yourself, and about working with what's at hand and putting it all into the pot. Different from the Magician. The Magician is a straight up manifesting card, whereas the Green Woman really has this like Earth Mama vibe. The Green Woman knows how to work with the rhythms of what is going on around her, with the rhythms of Mother Earth, as well as with the rhythms of everything contextually, right? Like she is able to like kind of glide through and navigate interpersonal politics and different people's needs, including her own, and is able to be like, this is the path that is going to make it work for all of us, and here we go. She's able to put all of these disparate puzzle pieces together and be like, yes, this is the answer, this is the path, this is how we're moving forward, where other people might just see chaos. The Empress is incredibly, incredibly potent to bring what she wants into being. She is kind of a fertility god. She definitely is like a fertility archetype, I would say. And the Green Woman, what I really like about it is you have this big plant fertility situation. You also have, she's got these other two elements in her hand. We've got this fox, and we've got this little antler having guy. And it's almost like she's like, you're part of the party too. These are the people who are involved in what I am creating. So she doesn't have to create as an island. She is, just working with what she's got and working with who she's got as a piece of a community and able to move forward in a really powerful way. And that, Melissa, is your card for the day. So what I want to ask you is, what would it look like to look at where you're at right now, the people in your life and situations in your life right now, and what you want, and ask how they can work together synergistically instead of finding ways that they're not working together. Because you can always look for both things, right? We have confirmation bias baked into us. It is an evolutionary trait. We are made to have confirmation bias because it makes our decisions easier. And when we were originally surviving with way less resources than we currently have as a species, having that would enable us to move and take action rather than get lost in analysis paralysis and get eaten, right? So confirmation bias is a real thing, and we can hack it. We can choose to use our confirmation bias to say, I believe that all the things in my life are going to work together synergistically for this goal, and I'm going to look for opportunities for that. And when we tell our brains that, our confirmation bias is going to kick in and be like, okay, yeah, let me show you. So that is what I am encouraging you to do today. Hack your confirmation bias around that and use your own formidable tools as a human being to, kind of create harmony amongst disparate groups of people and see what you can do to work collectively towards a common goal. These are my questions for you, or suggestions for you, I guess. Oh, Mary Jane says, I love him. He's always having a hard time. He should have a lovely Christmas. That's beautiful. That's a beautiful, selfless wish for your son. I hope he has a lovely Christmas, and I hope you do too. Melissa, oh, you moved over. You were on Instagram, and now you're on Facebook. Melissa says, sounds magnificent. Perfect timing with everything I'm feeling and up to these days. I love that. By the way, Ondine is sending you hugs, Mary Jane, over from Instagram. Chaka's dropped a cat. Let's see what cats we've got on deck. I'm scrolling. Scrolling. All right, we have Savannah and Ondine are my next two. No. Every time I try to scroll on Instagram, I do something terrible. Okay, Savannah and Ondine are on deck. There's more people on deck after that. Don't worry. Ondine Mary Jane says, hugs right back. I love how we support each other on the Witchy Weather Report. Thank you all so much for being in my universe here. Savannah, here is a card for you, my darling. Your card is the Eight of Bows, and the keyword here is the only deck that I actually like that has keywords. Usually they annoy me, but I think it really adds something in this deck, particularly because the meanings diverge a little bit from what is typical. Eight of Bows, Hearthfire is the keyword. And you see all of these people gathered around a fire. And these look like active people. You know, they've all got their bows. They maybe just came back from a hunt. You know, they're all celebrating together. And it looks like it's that really healthy kind of celebrating of like, let's celebrate the effort we put in. Let's celebrate all that we did today to provide for ourselves and each other. Let's celebrate that with the assumption that it's going to be successful, because no matter whether it's successful or not, it's worth celebrating what we did. It's worth owning that we showed up for ourselves and each other today. And that's the kind of celebration that is really, really healthy. Now, the other meaning traditionally of the Eight of Bows is things speeding up, things beginning to take place, cause and effect. The cause has already happened. You're beginning to see the effects all in a clump, right? So Hearthfire really is this kind of liminal moment of like, we know it's coming. We have begun to create our new reality. And right now we are raising a glass to what is to come, to, if you will, the new normal that we ourselves have put the energy into creating. Even though we have put this energy in, even though we are the ones going like, yes, I'm making the steps, I'm going after my goal, we never know what the new normal will look like. We never have a clear picture of like, it's going to be like this. Actually, often we do, and often we're wrong, right? Even when we go after a goal, often the way it manifests is a little different than what we're expecting. And so I just want you to sink into this kind of celebratory liminal space, Savannah, and own all that you have done already. Own all that you are putting in, all the seeds you've been planting, all the steps you've been taking, and just raise a glass to yourself at this time and trust that what you're doing is enough. Ondine, it is your turn, my dear. Aw, look at the love fest going on in the comments. I love you guys. Thank you for being a part of this space with me here at the Witchy Weather Report. We get together every week, and it's like this on my other live stream too, the Music One Monday Night Muses, where it just feels like everyone is showing up to support each other, and I'm just so grateful to be surrounded with a community like that. And that's really it. I'm just thanking you for being here in this space with me. Savannah says, such a timely card for the first quarter moon and everything happening in my life right now. I love that. You're very welcome. I do have a wonderful community. I'm very blessed. You are correct. Ondine, here's your card. It's the Three of Arrows, analogous to the Three of Swords. And the key word here, which is important for us, and I say us as musicians, as performers, as people following a heart's path, is jealousy. Because often jealousy shows us what we want and don't have. Jealousy shows us what is working for someone else that we wish would work for us. And it can be a guide or it can stymie us, right? Like so many emotions. We can choose to let jealousy just burn us down with grumpiness, which certainly I have been party to, or to allow it to be a literal arrow pointing the way to our heart, right? Like these three arrows have pierced his heart. This person's heart is literally on fire. And I want you to think about those words. When we talk about our hearts being pierced by arrows and our hearts being on fire, these are also phrases that we use when we fall in love, right? When we get so excited about something that we're just so moved that it lights our heart up, right? When we hear a piece of music or read a book or something that makes us go, oh my gosh, right? Like we feel like our heart is on fire. Now, jealousy is doing this in a way that kind of tweaks us, right? Like the Three of Arrows is more like my heart is on fire for this and it's not working out. What's wrong? And so that can be a very painful feeling. However, it can be a feeling, if we allow it to be a guide instead of a stopping point, if we allow it to feel like, okay, what are you trying to teach me, jealousy? It can light our path for us, right? The brightness of that fire, that our heart is on fire, can light our path. It can show us, well, maybe there's something I need to honor in my heart that I have not been fully honoring. And maybe it's time for me to just drop the excuses and do that. And that's something that hopefully in its best light that jealousy can do for us. So I'm just leaving that to you and your thoughts today for you to kind of think about what that might mean in your own life. This is that kind of deck. I've now done a couple readings with this deck, And you've, I think, seen me read with this deck before, once or twice on the Witchy Weather Report, but this is like kind of what this deck feels like to me, is it really brings up these questions. It's both right to the point, and there's a lot of talking points. It brings up the complexity. There are some decks I read with because they're simple and direct. The Everyday Witch Tarot comes to mind. Actually, the Classic Rider Waite comes to mind, you know. And this is a deck I think that celebrates complexity and nuance. And I'm a complex and nuanced person, so I'm here for it. As are all of you, I believe. Let's see who else is on deck. All right, I got a meow from Judith. I got some cats from Mary Jane. And I got a cat from Brittany. That's enough for now. That's 3. 3 is enough for my brain. Ondine says, damn, I'm sorry when the tarot makes you go, damn. It's usually a mixed emotional bag. Judith, I'm going to pull a card for you right now from our old friend, the Wildwood Tarot. Brittany, I did get a cat from you, right? You said my cat is yelling at me, but you did put a cat emoji, which to me feels like a cat. But if you're like, no card for me, let me know. Judith, here's your card. It's the 8 of Vessels. I love seeing the synchronicities when I do these, because we had another 8 before. This is 8 number 2. 8 of vesicles, 8 of vessels. And the keyword here is rebirth. And we just see this beautiful overflowing cup, you know, huge vessel of water here overflowing into these smaller cups. And all along we have this like big overflowing river with like various tributaries and deltas, right? So, and a little waterfall here. Now this is interesting because the 8 of Vessels is often a card about walking away from something, and this is almost like it turns the picture around. If you look at the typical 8 of Vessels, I'm sorry, I'm in a tarot nerd mood today. If you look at the traditional Rider-Waite 8 of Cups, what you see is a stack of 8 cups and someone walking away with a staff, like kind of walking along a river into the distance. We don't really know what. And it is a card about walking away. And inherently, when you walk away from something, you're walking to something. You just may or may not be real intentional about it, right? Your intention is to get away from what was not working out. And this is the flip side of that card, which is like, what are you walking to? You're definitely walking into the unknown. You're also walking into emotional rebirth. You're walking into a fresh start. Because that really, when we walk away from something that is not working out, that's what we need. That's what we crave. We need a fresh start. And the 8 of Vessels says you can have it. It's here for you. You have all of this abundance, all of this flowing water, like the possibility is there. Again, we have a liminal space. The 8s are superliminal, where we are in between the old and the new. And all of the fulfillment, all of the joy, all of the feelings of hope that may have felt lacking to you are available to you if you continue to walk this path. This is a card that reminds you to please continue to have your faith, because your moment is coming. Your epiphany is coming. Your rebirth is coming. Brittany says that is a cat. Excellent. Okay, good. Savannah says, we love tarot nerd vibes. And Chaka says, don't apologize, nerd is good. Thank you. I agree. Savannah says 8 of Vessels. Wow, that card is gorgeous. Yeah, this is such a deep deck. It's like really gorgeous. It feels really, this is going to sound a little cliche, but it feels really magical to me. It's that kind of deep magic that is like rooted in nature and like highlights the part of nature that is like unknown and arcane to us as human beings who are like now a little removed from nature. You know what I mean? It's really, I have found this deck to be a really strong guide in my life. Okay, who is next? We have Mary Jane, then we have Brittany. Brittany's popping a question in there. I don't think Mary Jane had a question, but sometimes she does. So I'm going to take a look-see. I don't want to miss your questions. No, I don't see a particular question there. All right. Mary Jane, this card is for you. Judith says, I need to revisit the Eight of Cups. Thank you. You're very welcome. By the way, hang on, hydration checkpoint. Coffee, it's kind of hydraty. It's a liquid. Okay. Mary Jane, this is for you. The King of Arrows, and the animal highlighted on this card is the Kingfisher. So I want to talk to you about this King of Arrows now just to the King of Swords. I have gotten this card recently in readings for myself. And really, we talk about the Kingfisher as this incredibly graceful animal. Look at that big beak, pointing directly at what it wants. Sharp eyes, eye on the prize, literally is about to dive under the water and get a fish that's under the water, like stab it with its beak and carry it up. And like, that requires so many things to happen. You know what I mean? That requires this animal to be so agile, so dexterous, so intelligent, you know, to be able to kind of predict the movement of the fish and stuff like that, because it's not going to be in the same place you saw it once you land. You know, so like all of these different types of wisdom are involved in this Kingfisher going and getting his breakfast. And that is the kind of wisdom that is needed from you at this moment. The wisdom of keeping your eye on the prize, knowing exactly what you want, and a little bit having tunnel vision. Pushing out all of the other inputs, because we have so many inputs in our lives right now. Putting all the other inputs to the side, giving yourself blinders so that you can dead focus on, here's what I really want, and track it and learn it and knock it out on the park on the first try, because you're just paying that much attention. Because the real secret to the Kingfisher's ability to get his breakfast every day is simple attention, right? He's flying. He's already done his like, you know, his like work to like get himself in shape for what he's doing. He's kind of built for it. And now he just pays attention so he knows the right moment to strike. It's about him choosing his moment that he will be successful. So rather than putting it on himself to know everything and just be a perfect success every time, he is analyzing the situation around him and being like, when is my moment? Not now, not now. This is it. This is my moment. And that is the kind of attitude that you are being asked to have right now, to just look around, because your opportunity is available to you. And timing is important. Timing's a thing. Okay. I see some other humans tuning in. Hello, Corrine. Thank you for tuning in. Corrine Ann. Hello, Anna. No, you're not too late. Mary Jane says, perfect advice. Tunnel vision is something this Virgo is good at. Girl, same. By the way, if you just tuned in, two things. Our card of the week for everyone is the Three of Bows. There is a portal we are being asked to walk through, and it is about taking the first step towards something that is close to our heart, towards a passion, towards a goal, towards an ambition. We are being asked to take this first step in faith, not knowing the entire path. All we know is the next step. We are being asked to take that next step in faith that future steps will appear before us. And if we do so, we will be rewarded. So that is kind of the energy of the week right now. And if you'd like me to pull a card for you, the secret code that we use on this live stream is to drop a cat emoji in the chat. Either put a cat in or write the word meow. And that way I know to pull a card for you and we don't get spammers. Because when people are like, please pull a card, immediately spammers descend. It's awful. Savannah says, fierce focus. Yeah, that is the King of Swords in a nutshell. Okay, now, Brittany had a couple questions. Let me see. I have a somewhat question, but I'm trying to distill it further. I would like some guidance related to what I'm going through with therapy right now. Kind of like, what can I focus on or keep in mind as we're uncovering and working on really difficult soul wounds? I just want to say congratulations. And I also just want to send like, I don't know, like virtual comfort soup energy, because that's really hard work and it really deserves a lot of care. And Brittany goes on to say, kind of like, what can I focus on or keep in mind? That sort of vibe. I know tarot is better with vibes and actual questions, but the question would be, how can I stop myself from getting swept away and losing myself? Okay. I just want to congratulate you on doing that work, because it is it's like nothing to sneeze at. It's no small task. That's big stuff. Here's your card. Your card is the journey. You know how sometimes you ask the tarot a question, you're like, please help me with my journey. And the tarot's like, you're on a journey. However, what's really interesting is the tarot, the journey in this deck is analogous to death. We see a raven. We see the skull of a stag's head. We see more ravens casting a shadow over the full moon, which is a time of completion. We're not in the full moon right now, but it's coming up. So I actually would encourage you to pay some attention to what happens around the full moon. Maybe expect for there to be a little bit more attention paid by your own subconscious, your own intuition at that time to these issues. You might find that things come up that you have been waiting to understand at that time. And yes, it will be a mixed bag of painful and transformation, because that is really what death is. And in particular in this deck, the journey. You know, we talk about, this is a deck about the magic of the woods. So death becomes the thing that also feeds all the other creatures in the forest, right? Death becomes the thing that enables the trees to grow, that enables several different sets of animals, from predators to scavengers, to, you know, get their next meal and continue to thrive. And it's this life cycle of things being born, things living, things passing away, things being reborn in a different form. And that is where you're at right now. You may find that you can't, and maybe don't want to, get back to the person you were before all the things happened to you that happened to you. Instead, you're learning about the person you are now, and you're about to go through another kind of Pokemon-like transformation, where now you're the person who had all that things happen to them, who is integrating it. And that is another different level of who you are going to become. And so it's a little bit like, I think that there's like a meme that goes around about how when you go from being a caterpillar into a butterfly, you transform into the next phase of your existence. There is a whole phase in there where you literally are inside like a weird shell and you're turning into goo. And if you're that caterpillar, that's got to be freaking terrifying. Like, oh, I'm turning into goo. Great. So I just want to let you know that if you find yourself in your goo phase, that means that progress is happening. That means that you are transforming. And both to trust the process and to be deeply, deeply kind to yourself. There is a reason that caterpillars make a cocoon, create something that is strong and hard to penetrate while they go through this phase. They know they'll need protection, right? They know they're about to turn into friggin' goo, and it might be delicious goo to like a bird or something like that. So they're like, okay, I'm going to protect my goo. And the way we can protect our goo, this is an interesting lecture. The way we can protect our goo as people during times of transformation is to have really good boundaries, to literally avoid contact with people who we know tweak us, because we don't need to be spending our energy on that right now. We need to be spending our energy inward, on ourselves, on our own transformation, and to surround ourselves instead with the people who we know will be understanding, who will be loving, who will be the mom friend, who will encourage us to be good to ourselves. And so that is my message to you at this time. Protect your goo. Brittany says, I'm going to tell my therapist on Tuesday I'm in my goo phase. Also, every time death comes up for me, I pay extra attention. That's really brave of you. Because for me, I have to say, and I'm a reader, and I'm the person like, death is transformation. When death comes up for me, I'm like, I have big feelings. And it stresses me right out, I'll be honest. We're having a little goo celebration here in the comments. Judith is just like, goo. Goo. Anna is saying, goo phase, buzzword for the year. Gonna tell my therapist I'm in my goo phase. Thank you, you're welcome. Also, by the way, Savannah from Instagram is sending you good vibes, Brittany. She says, sending you good vibes. Therapy is tough, but worth it. Okay, who do I have next on deck? I know I have Chaka on deck, and I know I have a couple more people. Let me scroll up and see who is next. Okay, Chaka, Angie. Did I have anyone else who wanted a card? And Anna. Chaka, Angie, Anna. Okay. That's all I have. So if you need a card and I have not noticed your cat, let me know. Chaka, here is a card for you, my friend. Page of Vessels, Otter. Let me show you this adorable otter for starters, because look. So this is a cute little otter on a cliff overlooking a very quickly running river and contemplating it, right? The otter at some point is going to jump into that river. Otters are river creatures. They love the water. They not only need to be in water to like get their food and stuff like that, they frolic in water, right? It's like it's a friggin' party to them. Yet an otter with any kind of reasonable self-preservation is going to be thoughtful about jumping into a current that is this speedy, right? They're aware, like, I want to have a good time in the water. I don't want to get dashed on the friggin' rocks. So again, we have ding, 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 buzzword for today. This liminal space, this moment of preparation, this moment of time between knowing that you're going to dive in and planning a dive in such a way that it becomes a beautiful experience rather than a traumatic experience. And boy, does that speak to our relationship as human beings to emotions, right? Water represents emotions. It represents the unknown in a big way. It represents kind of all of the wiggly complicated stuff that we crave and need in our lives, and yet don't fully understand. So we're a little bit like, we're a little bit twitchy and nervous about it. And the otter right now is like ready to do that dive, ready to experience, in fact, itching to. I think of this otter like my kitten at 6:30 in the morning, and my kitten at 6:30 in the morning can't not play. My husband and I just had a big conversation about this, we have watched her try really hard to like be good for us, to like, cause she knows we want to sleep, to like try to chill on a pillow next to us or something as we sleep. And you watch her and she's like, yes, I'm sitting quietly. And you see her eyes going like, but there are so many things I want to explore. There's a squirrel noise. What's happening over there? I can't keep still. I need to play. And that's like the vibe of this otter. This otter knows it needs this embrace of the water. It needs to go play. It needs to explore the unknown. And in so doing, it opens itself up to risk. And ultimately it's going to take that leap. You have an opportunity, though, to ask yourself, what would make this feel really playful for me? What would make this feel joyful for me rather than frightening? Because there's always two sides to that coin when we take any leap. So there you have it. That is your card, Chaka. Angie, you are next. Ooh, let's see what we got here. Angie says, there's a really good Radiolab episode about the butterfly goo. The only thing that preserves a caterpillar's identity is this little nerve. Oh, there's a goo nerve. Yeah, I've always wondered about that. I'm like, if I turn to goo, am I still me? I guess, right? I mean, if anyone watched Alex Mack or Deep Space Nine, it's the same goo effect. I saw Alex Mack first, and now my husband's showing me Deep Space Nine, and I'm like, Odo is Alex Mack. That's an extremely targeted observation that very few people I think will make the connection. Is it the vagus nerve? I don't know. Is it? That's really interesting, Angie. Savannah says otters and cats, both cute predators. Yes, accurate. Chaka says thank you. You are welcome. Oh wow, they did a memory experiment to prove it. That's fascinating. So I guess like butterflies have or moths have the memories that their caterpillar selves had. That's really interesting. It's just interesting thinking about bugs having memories. I love learning about that stuff. Anyway, Brittany says, feels like I have to pay attention to death because death and transformation is my type of magic and also my birth card. Mine too, actually. I'm Death Emperor. So I don't know. I guess maybe I'm more in the emperor phase because I see death and I'm like, and I also, like the last year or so, I have been actively trying for a transformation that does involve saying goodbye to some things, not knowing how to complete it. So I also meet death with some frustration. It's a mixed bag. Hey, KK. KK says, will I get a new job this month? I will ask the cards for you. You have two people in front of you, I think. We have Angie, Anna, then you, KK. Okay. Angie, I'm pulling a card for you. Oh, and let me just check and see if you had a particular question. Scrolling. Angie says, happy Catterday. Happy Catterday indeed. No, I don't see a question. Okay, well, let me talk to you because your card is the Three of Stones, and the keyword here is creativity. And I just want to show you this incredibly emotive image on this card where this person is literally bracing themselves against these three stones, kind of set up in like a druid-like way, you know, kind of like creating almost like a pie, like the symbol pie, you know, kind of shape. And literally this person is like there at the precipice of, again, a portal, right? Like these rocks kind of do form a portal. And I just feel like this is literally like pulling energy directly from source, allowing yourself to connect directly with whatever you want to call it, source, the muse, your subconscious, your higher self, like whatever it is that like when you feel tuned in that you are connecting with, you know what I mean? This person is like deeply in it. So it's that phase of creativity that's not like I'm writing 8 million words, although that might be the form that it takes. It's this phase of creativity that's like I'm tuned in, I'm learning what I need to express, and I'm getting a clue about how important it is that I express it. You know what I mean? And how you express it then can take many, many forms. You know what I mean? And whether you choose to believe it's you know, a piece of yourself or a piece of the collective unconscious or some other type of energy, you have the opportunity to like lean into that energy now and allow it to support you in your journey. Allow it to be a guide and a teacher in your journey. Surrender to it rather than dragging it along on a leash. That's the attitude to have. And when you surrender to it, you will find deep fulfillment from that. That is where you're at. Angie says, trying to emerge in a sense, very much so. Very much so. And again, we tap into, although the Three of Stones is in Earth sign, we tap into this, you know, kind of unknown, because creativity is inherently unknown. When you create something, it never existed before. It can't get more unknown than that. And yet, for those of us who are creative, this gives us balance. We cannot be balanced if we're not creative. And that's why it's important that this is Three of Stones, not Three of Cups or something. We ground ourselves by creating, us creative people. And so when we are not creating, when we are not tuned into that flow, when we are blocking the flow, we ourselves are out of phase with our own lives. And so surrendering to it now will set you right in whatever way you need to be set right. All right, Anna is next, then KK. And it says, meow, am I too late? You're not too late. And it says, oh my God, I'm so there right now, unbalanced. Well, I'm about to pull a card for you. Let's find your balance. I feel you, by the way. I don't think it's just you. It seems like a lot of people are in a transition phase that it's like feeling like maybe it's all growing pains. I'm like, please let it be growing pains. Because that's how I'm feeling. Like everything just feels out of whack. And multiple times a day, I'm like, am I awake right now or am I dreaming? And that's not in like a, oh, my dreams are coming true sense, in a like, everything's really weird today kind of sense. And my therapist tells me I'm not the only one who feels this way. Hey, Ariel. So good to see you. Let me know if you want a card. If you just joined, the secret code to let me know to pull a card for you is to drop a cat in the chat. Drop a cat emoji in there or write the word meow and I will know. Angie says, I definitely believe nothing is always something. Potential waits. Yes. Anna, here's your card. We have the Knight of Arrows, analogous to the Knight of Swords, Hawk. All right. let's talk about the hawk, because the hawk is fearsome. The hawk is formidable, and also has this incredible intuitive sense of riding the thermal currents in the air. You know, if you've looked up on the highway or something and seen a hawk circling, and they're like actually expending very little energy. They've just got their wings outstretched and they are just gliding on the air currents. And it's like a beautiful dance. And then, like the kingfisher, once they see what they want, which is probably some defenseless little mousy, it's a little bit sad. Once they see what they want, they're in this effortless phase. So they have plenty of energy to be like, boom, mousy time. And the Knight of Arrows in particular is about you and your energy, as well as communication. You know, like air is about communication. Air is also about learning. And I think for you right now, the Knight of Arrows is about something you need to learn about your energy, about managing your energy, as well as, I want to say, your frustration, harnessing your frustration and your anger. And boy, like, I want to just tell you, when I talk about these things, it's not me calling you out, because I'm like on the same page. I'm like, how can my anger be a tool? Because I have a lot of it. Harnessing this energy and allowing it to become power. And I don't mean flying off the handle over nothing. What I do mean is acknowledging your right to feel frustrated, acknowledge your right to have this emotion, and allow it to become transformed into something that will aid you when the time is right, into the energy that will allow yourself to kick into super drive when you have the opportunity to make a big change that you have been wanting to make. Whether that's like setting a strong boundary, making a strong pronouncement, going after an opportunity that suddenly appears before you. And in the meantime, looking at your energy management, not as repressing yourself, but as biding your time, as a hawk would bide their time. And so, because we can be, like, knights are by nature impulsive, and the way to harness this energy is to allow yourself to be like, I am going to use this power when the time is right. Again, we have this, context of timing coming up in our readings today. When the time is right, I'm going to use this. So rather than put it all out there right now in the moment and be impulsive, I'm going to save it for when I need it, and it will serve me well. And, and trusting ourselves to know when the time is right, to know when it is right to expend some energy to get what we need to happen. And it says, boom. Ariel says, love your interpretation. Thank you. Ariel drops a cat, says, just realized, not sure if you can see the Facebook stickers from StreamYard, so here's my cat emoji. Thank you. Usually they do actually show up blank in StreamYard, but I'm like, that's probably a cat. I figure it out. All right, KK, will I get a new job this month? Are you putting yourself out there for a new job? Sounds like yes. I'm wishing you luck on that. Let's see what the cards say. Okay, we have the Blasted Oak. Now, the Blasted Oak is now just to the Tower. The Blasted Oak is absolutely a card of upheaval and chaos. So it's not as simple as like, oh, I got a new job and I started it. It's like your path around your career right now is one that is going to feel a bit chaotic. It might look like needing to leave the old job before the new job is secure. That could be Tower energy. It might look like something dramatic happening that may create an opportunity for you, but it feels like a mixed blessing because you have a lot to respond to instead of just adjusting to your new role, right? The Blasted Oak indicates that things are changing that are outside of our control. And so I would advise you, keep doing what you're doing. You're probably doing all the right things right now. You're probably doing the work to try to get the job that you want. Go ahead and keep doing that. Also, take good care of yourself and get in touch with what you really want in your life. And I don't mean planning everything out in a very detailed way. I mean, how do you want to feel every day? How do you want to feel about your work? What matters to you at work? Is it being valued in a certain way? Is it using certain skills that are important to you? Is it, just being compensated in the right way? Is it something about your environment that is either good for you or bad for you? What will make it feel good for you? Because right now there's a time of change happening in your life. You're going to get change, that I promise you. And it's worth it for you to know what you hold dear, what you value. Because that will allow you to respond as your best self in this situation, to kind of advocate for yourself amongst a period of some uncertainty. And I know that's a stressful card. So I'm sorry. Like I said, if you're looking for change, you're getting change. KK says, career reading, please. I think you sent that before I pulled the card. So let me know. Let me know if you have thoughts or feelings about that. I know that's like a big card to get about a career reading. It does seem like there will be, I don't know if you're working right now for a particular company, maybe big changes within the company. That's definitely something, a shakeup. That's usually what the Tower indicates. Okay, Ariel, here is your card. And this is our last card for today. And like I said, I'm going to pull a card for myself for today, if no one else would want one. I know I saw Corrine Ann tune in. Corrine, if you would like a card, just drop a cat, let me know. I don't know if you're still tuned in. By the way, I'll take this moment to let you all know I offer these readings freely every Saturday. I do have a virtual tip jar, and some of y'all have been very generous. I think I saw a tip fly by earlier on my phone notification thingy. If you enjoy this experience, would like to throw some love in the virtual tip jar, I'm super grateful. It's Venmo at Rory Kelly or paypal.me/Rory Kelly. You can find it in my link in my bio if you're on Instagram, and it is like literally scrolling across the bottom right now of the screen if you're anywhere else. And always appreciated, never expected. But I do try to mention it. In case anyone wants to be kind and generous. And some of you I know have been sharing this. I'm really thankful for that. Thank you for sharing. KK, I did just pull a card for you. It was the Tower, the Blasted Oak. That was for you. That was your card. So I'll give you a quick recap. What that card means in a career context is there is going to be a shakeup. There is going to be upheaval. So your first question was, will I get a new job? My answer is maybe. Definitely what you will get is change. So definitely change is coming in your career. There will be a time of some uncertainty, a time when you're probably forced to respond and react rather than just go in an orderly fashion after your goals. And so what I advise you, keep doing what you're doing, all the moves you're probably making to get the job you want. I'm sure you're already doing that. Keep doing that. And also spend some time getting clear on what is it you really want in a new job. What makes you feel wonderful about a job? What makes you feel valued? Whether it's getting a certain amount of money, whether it's someone, being treated a certain way by your coworkers and by those above you, whether it's using certain skills, I want to be doing my best, get real clear on what it is that you value most, that you want most, because you're going to be presented with this mixed bag of opportunities and probably some stress. And if you're clear on what you want, it allows you to advocate for yourself. It allows you to make the most of this period of change. Also, want to let y'all know I have a podcast called Sassafras Cast. If you like this kind of thing, you'll probably like Sassafras Cast. I just did an episode on burnout, and I'm going to be doing another episode in a couple weeks on the 26th for patrons, 27th for everyone else. So please subscribe, Sassafras Cast, all one word. You can find it anywhere you listen to podcasts. Ariel, here is your card finally. Hey, Emmy, how you doing? You want a card? Okay, Ariel, your card is the Six of Stones. This is an area where this deck diverges a little bit from the traditional meanings because the keyword here is exploitation. And what we see here is we have this industrious sense. We have this row of beehives of, great industriousness. We see a sunrise and we see these people who have clearly been working in some way. There's a broken rake behind them and yet are still struggling, putting all that work in and yet still struggling. And probably you know what that feels like if you're getting this card. So my question to you is, are there areas where you need to stand your ground and affirm your boundaries just cause? Often when we feel when we feel that we're not getting back the amount that we're putting in, it can be easy to blame ourselves. It can also be easy to be fearful and be like, I don't want to bring anything up because I'm already struggling and I don't want to like lose my opportunity or burn a bridge or whatever it is. And I'm going to encourage you in this card to just identify really clearly where your boundaries are at, you know. You can ask another question. I'm doing one card per person today, KK. So you can ask. I'll try to answer in the context of that card. And if you'd want a larger reading at some point, you can order that on my Etsy. It's Sassafras Tarot is the name of the shop. So if you search that, all one word on Etsy, you will find me. Yeah. But you're welcome to ask another question. I'll do my best to answer it for you in the context of that card. So Ariel, my recommendation to you at this time is to really identify if there are ways where you feel like you're getting the short end of the stick, you know, where you're putting in more than you're receiving, to get the strength to advocate for yourself. Like that's often just gumption, right? Like just to be like, no, it's time to advocate for myself. That can be very scary for us, especially if we're already feeling depleted. Unfortunately, though, when we're in these kinds of situations, usually no one's stepping up to do the job for us. Like we just have to advocate for ourselves. And even though it's scary, usually when we do, we feel better because we've shown ourselves like, oh, I'm worth fighting for. Oh, okay. And other people begin to learn how to treat us. People learn how to treat us based on how we treat ourselves. If we don't advocate for ourselves, they learn that they can do what they want. And if we do advocate for themselves, a different kind of respect grows. So they're like, oh, I can't get things by on this person. I'm going to have to, be ethical or whatever. I'm going to have to, work within their needs instead of just considering my own. I'm going to say, wait till next week, KK, or get a different reading because I pulled a card specifically for career for you. And I don't know that it relates to this context of someone missing you or not missing you. I will say though that if it's someone that you want to reach out to, it never hurts to reach out. Never hurts to give a call if you want to find out if you're missing the person. That's the information that you need, right? Savannah says, I absolutely love being a part of your Patreon. Oh, thank you so much, Savannah. I love having you. We're having a really cool conversation right now on the Patreon Discord about something called a depth year. Patty Bell brought it up. And she was like, a depth year, we've got a new year coming up, right? A depth year is a year where you don't kind of start a bunch of new projects. And the analogy is like you read the books on your shelves instead of going to get new books. You finish what you started instead of starting a bunch of new things. And it feels really synchronicity-ful, a real word, to me, because I've been thinking about that. I've been thinking about what I want to do is make good on some commitments I've made to myself next year rather than start new projects. I want to look at the things I've promised myself, and if I'm still excited about doing them, get those things done. And that's a depth year. So I really think it's really interesting. We have great conversations on that Discord. And if you want to be a part of it, patreon.com/Sassafras Tarot is where you can be a part of that. Savannah says, sounds like what I need in 2022. Pop into the Discord, Savannah, because you're a patron, so I know you have access. Because Patty Bell just asked me to make a whole channel for it. So I think a few of us are on that same vibe right now. Career related, will I sign a job contract next week? I just had an interview last week. It with the tower coming up as your card, KK. I can't really answer. There's this sense of uncertainty, so it seems to me like that might remain up in the air for you as you're trying to kind of navigate this situation. Maybe you'll sign a contract, maybe you won't sign a contract, but there is going to be a sense of what does the future hold? You might have to live with that uncertainty for a little bit, which I don't want that to scare you and make you think, oh, I'm never going to move forward. It's more like things are changing, and it's wise for you to keep your eyes and ears open, so that you can be your best self and approach those changes, to your best advantage. All right. I think that's everyone today. I'm going to pull a card for myself right now. That's going to be my end cap to this broadcast. Thank you so much for tuning in today. As always, these readings are offered freely. I'm really thankful to those of you who are, many of you have been generous and tipped or joined the Patreon or whatever. Thank you for being in my life. Thank you all of you for just showing up each week and being kind, being a part of this community. It just means so much to me. Here's my card for myself. Oh, I also got the Page of Vessels, the Otter. It's really interesting. I'll give you context for this because I think if you were here when I pulled this card for Chaka, I really talked about how we have these fast-moving waters and the otter contemplating whether to jump in. I'll also let you know that water for me in a big way represents like the unknown, the things I want, but the things I am not sure I can handle. You know what I mean? Moving forward, growing up, taking opportunities or trying to make good on opportunities for myself. That's what it often represents to me in dreams, is me feeling like either the unknown is overwhelming me, like I can't control it, and how do I react with that, right? And so it's really interesting to get the otter right now because I am having big feelings and I don't know what to do with them. And as a Virgo, I'm someone who likes to organize my feelings. I'm someone who's like, here's how I'm feeling. Therefore, here's what I need to do, to address this circumstance. And it's like, it's a good proactive approach to like, it certainly made me proactive about like, therapy and personal growth and all of that. KK, you're a Virgo too. Me too. That makes sense. Cause I can kind of tell from your questions that you like have that, like, let me organize my life attitude that I have as well. Yeah. So Page of Vessels is here and it's really true. I really feel that the stuff that's coming up for me, some of it is me processing old stuff. Some of it is me like processing ongoing stuff, feelings that I've kind of been putting to the side and now I can't anymore. And I know I have to make a change and I don't know what it is yet. So that's really like, I do feel this Page of Vessels energy of like, I know there's something new for me and it's not going to be about like taking a new career move or making a new start. It's like emotionally, maybe a new approach. And still sorting that out day by day. So I'll keep you all posted. KK says, can you include me in your prayers? Anyone who's got some energy for KK, please send that energy out there. I will send you some for sure. We take care of each other here. And, and it goes both ways. Let's all try to be kind to each other. Put light around people who are struggling. All that stuff. Thank you so much, everybody. Savannah says, I will for sure. Ariel says, as a Capricorn, I relate. Yeah. Big earth sign energy, right? Yeah, for KK to have that new job and career. Good luck with that. I really hope you do. I'll send in some good vibes for sure. Okay, my loves. This is going to be it for today. Thank you for joining me for the Witchy Weather Report. As always, next week we will be back. Same bat time, same bat channel, 11 a.m. Eastern time. Here where you're watching right now. As always, if you want to order a full reading with me, you absolutely can. Etsy.com/shop/Sassafras Tarot. That's in the link in my bio if you're on Instagram or scrolling across the bottom everywhere else. If you appreciated this, you can throw some love in the virtual tip jar or just give it a share. There are free ways to show your appreciation. I never expect people to spend money because I know it's everyone's financial situation is different at any given moment. Thank you, everyone who's been a part of this. Farewell, farewell.